We had like three people here, and that two were from Richpanel. So I'm excited. At least the room is now quarter full. But I'm very excited to be here in front of you all and share with you something that we have been doing and one of the most exciting applications of AI, like a real life application, which is something that is helping our business. So my hope is that you guys will be able to implement this for your business. I'm going to show you like all the prompts we used, all the tools we used, so with a little bit of effort or like 1 or 2 days of effort, you'll be able to implement it for your business. Uh, one of the investors that I truly respect, Jason Lemkin, he's a very popular SaaS investor. And he said that after you hit product market fit or after you've had like initial traction, the role of a founder is to recruit 1 or 2 A players, like the best players that you can find every year. And you will see that every time you hire an A player, your company will feel like a different one because that's the transformational value they can have. Like there's new energy, something that was like a blocker or constraint in your business gets like unblocked, and that's the impact a good player can have in your business. So what I want to show you today is not to hire 1 or 2 A players, but make sure that every person in your team is an A player. That's literally the standard that we hold ourselves to, and I want to help founders avoid the expensive hiring mistakes. If you have ever found yourself in a situation where you're really desperate to make a hire, your heart tells you that this is probably not the right one, and you still went ahead, you can all imagine that it costed you like 6 months of effort, and then you had to redo the hire anyway. So that's what we are going to try avoiding. I'm going to show you how to avoid expensive hiring mistakes, reduce your time to hire, close these positions really quickly, and more importantly, make these A players want to come and work for you. So, okay, am I doing something wrong? It's not going to the next one. It's this big green button, right? Or even if you can go to, okay, perfect. So why you should listen to me? I'm the CEO and head of technology at Richpanel. We service over 2,000 e-commerce brands, but many of these are nine-figure brands like Ridge, Pela, Jones Road, Snow. We are backed by Sequoia, which is arguably one of the top five VC firms in the world. That has also backed the likes of Airbnb, Apple, Google, and many more. And we were able to accomplish all of this with a 19-member team. I was just telling him that it's very unusual for us to come to a trade show because we have to get like 3 or 4 members here, and then things start to break. But I would not have been able to accomplish all this without the team that I've been able to hire. So I'm going to show you how exactly did we hire this team. How many of you here have read the book Who, the A Method of Hiring? Anyone here? It's one of the most impactful and transformational books that I've ever read, and it really changed my life after this. So what this is actually a book that was written in 1990s or 2000, but they interviewed 60 CEOs of Fortune 500 companies to create this. This is the exact techniques that are used by FANG, your Meta, Google, Facebook. They all use this exact techniques to hire for their companies. So that's what I'm going to do it. And they also interview 20 billionaires to do this. So when you will read the book, you will see like, okay, how was the CEO of JP Morgan hired, right? Jamie Dimon, that exact interview and case studies given in this book. So it's all those heavyweights were hired using the techniques given in this book. So some of you must be thinking that, oh, it's used by Meta, it's used by JP Morgan, so it must be like, okay, I have to pay like big comps to make this thing happen. No, that's not the case. You don't need to be a big company, and no, it's not a lot of work to implement the things that I'm about to show you. In fact, it will help you attract the right kind of talent at better comps. It will put you in a position or like a position of strength. So you'll have like more bargaining power. You'll become a big company as a result of making these hires, and you will reduce the work it takes to close this hires. So because you've not read the book, the AI implementation is nothing but productizing what was given in the book, right? So it's nothing else. Whatever concepts we learned in the book, we transform that into an AI recruiter. So the 4 S's given in the book, this is like a quick summary of the book, is you need to identify if you're doing like any kind of hiring, this is the way you do it. First, you come up with a scorecard, like a very measurable, tangible way you measure a player. I will describe that. Second is sourcing. Where are these A players hanging out? You need to know that. Third is the selection, like the who interview, which we productize using AI. And fourth is selling, which means that once you find the A player, make them want to work for you. So this is a sample scorecard, right? So how many of you are like e-commerce or retailers here? Okay. Uh, this is for most of the retailers that I've worked with. They sometimes want to extend to their B2B segment, and they go on hiring a national account manager or a key account manager. So this is what a scorecard would look like for a key account manager. You see, the scorecard is divided into mission, outcomes, and competencies. It forces you to define what an A player is by listing down the outcomes. Like if you've really hired this A player, what are the outcomes that this person would need to have achieved to be called an A player? So if I get a key account manager in my company to expand my B2B channel, they should have secured and managed relationships with top 10 national retailers, right, in the next 12 to 18 months. So they should have like, relationship with Target, with Best Buy, with Walmart, whatever that is for your business. They should have achieved, they should grow our quarterly revenue from like 1 million to 2.5 million per quarter in the next 12 months. They should maintain 90% retention with key accounts. So whatever are those outcomes. So imagine like, if you hire this titan, what would your business look like? Or if they are really an A player, what are the outcomes they will achieve? So those are the outcomes. And the competencies are like, if they have to achieve these outcomes, what are the competencies they'll have? Like, so in this example, they need to have a Rolodex of, retailers that they've worked with before. They should have done this for some company before. So those are the competencies, right? Now, I mentioned the word A player multiple times. So let's first define what an A player is. A player is a candidate where you are, which has a 90% probability of achieving the outcome that we defined in the previous scorecard, that only top 10% of the candidate pool can. So it's a very specific definition. It's not open for interpretation. There should be no ambiguity. If I talk to my key account manager, has he done this before? Do I have 90%? Based on my interview, am I 90% sure that he'll be able to achieve the said outcomes? That's what an A player is, right? So you have the scorecard, right? The second thing is sourcing. So once you identify that this is your key account manager and this is the scorecard, you need to then see like, okay, where are these A players hanging out? Okay, so you can brainstorm with Chat GPT, give it the scorecard and say like, okay, if I'm really looking for this guy, what communities is this person hanging out in, right? Where can I find her? Where can I find him, right? Then the next is obviously the best way to ask for referrals is your network, your community of people that, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and can you like turn this around? That's the next thing. The other thing is, in each conversation, you need to be asking your people that you network with, like, who do you know based on what you know about my business? Who do you know that I should be talking to? So that's how you expand your network. Screening is critical. Whenever we publish like a job post, so I published like head of ops, I got 1,000 applications over the weekend for that job post. By the way, when we are writing the JD, our JDs are written like sales letters, right? Literally, because we sell the role to them. So based on the JDs, we get like a lot of good applications. And from the first screen, we identify like what are the places, Slack communities, Reddit groups that we need to post the JD on. Once we post that, we get like 1,000 candidates. Amongst these 1,000 candidates, you need to just identify that how do you screen these candidates? And these are some screening questions, but we are going to eliminate this with AI and help you surface out of those 1,000, which are the 15 you need to talk to. Because those 15 are the key players that are sitting on your resume or pile of resumes that you have. And they're also sitting in the pile of resumes of your competitors, right? So whoever gets to them quickly or whoever identifies that I have these 15 A players in my list of 1,000 and are able to like have the conversations will have a higher chance of closing them, right? So next is selection is like, building conviction on the hire, which is like, what were you hired to do? This is where you interview the person. What were you hired to do? You're basically in your mental model, you're trying to create the scorecard of their previous job, right? So you say like, what are the outcomes that you achieved, right? How did you get there? And you do that for every job role they've had in the past. And you create a mental scorecard and then you start rating them. Oh, this guy has done what I'm asking him to do. the previous 3 jobs and he was successful. So, okay, that he gets an A over here. Maybe when it came to retention, there was a separate team and this guy didn't have much to say over there. So maybe he gets like a C over there. I'm not confident he'll be able to do the retention outcome I have in mind. So that's how you basically grade the people and give them like a score of like A, B, or C. Okay. Last thing is the selling. So basically, once you have identified the A player, you want to make sure that this player also wants you the way you want them. So the way that you do it is 5 Fs, which is fit, family, freedom, fortune, and fun. And depending on the candidate, they will have different weightages that they will put all these 5 buckets in. But these are the 5 reasons why people select a job. So fit is, if I'm an A player, I want to work for a company where my skills will be valued, appreciated, and I can see like I can create a significant dent. That's the fit. Family, I've seen like so many interviewers making this mistake of not discovering early on who all will be influenced by this decision, right? You got to ask like, hey, you think you're moving to California, what does your wife or what does your husband think about it, right? Who all needs to be involved in order to be making this decision? So early on in the process, you need to identify, because this is going to be influencing the decision quite a bit. And by discovering this, it will give you an edge over your competitors to close this A player. Next is freedom. Some people will value freedom and the autonomy they will get. Some will value money, and some will value fun. So based on that, you will. This is the 5 categories you have to sell a player on. Okay, so that's about the whole summary of the book. The book is pretty simple. You create a scorecard, identify where they will be hanging out. So that's the sourcing. Third is the selection, and fourth is the selling part. So that's the book, right? So what I did in the last 5-7 minutes is give you a summary of the book. Go ahead. Okay. So now coming to implementing that scorecard with AI, right? So the way you do it is, this is the scorecard that you can create for your prompt. So you basically can brainstorm, and happy to share this as a deck with everyone. There'll be a QR code in the end. So you can take this exact prompt, put it on ChatGPT, and be like, hey, this is my goal. This is the context, right? What does your company do? These are the outcomes and responsibilities. Now you make a scorecard for me. So I'm telling ChatGPT that based on the book, A Method of Hiring, I want you to create a scorecard. So this will be like your first starting point for creating the scorecard and identifying who you need to go after. Then comes the screening, right? So what are the 5 questions you got to ask this candidate to, and your objective here is optimizing for disqualification. So remember in the first stage, I said you get 1,000 applications, you need to figure out who are the 15. What are the 5 questions I need to ask to quickly disqualify the 985 candidates that I should not be distracted with, that I should not be wasting my time on? So those are the screening questions. So we have created 2 assets. We have created the scorecard with GPT. We have created the screening questions with GPT. Then comes the assignment. So usually our interview process is, you do the screening, you come on an interview. If I like you in the interview, I send you a take-home assignment. I'm using this prompt to create the take-home assignment, and I usually make sure that it should take no longer than 6 hours for them to complete. So I can see that they've put in the effort, but it's not like they have to put their current job on hold to be doing this assignment, right? So that's the assignment that I create. Next is the JD. So I give them like a template JD. I tell them like, hey, take the scorecard, create the JD for me. So I've basically created all the assets I need to be proceeding to the next stage, right? So now, how many here have used a custom GPT? Do you guys know what a custom GPT is? Okay, 1%, 2%. Okay, 3 people. So custom GPT is nothing but like a format of Chat GPT, which is preceded with a prompt, right? So it's just $20 to become a ChatGPT Plus user. But once you do that, you're able to, if you find yourself using the same prompt again and again, you can actually use custom GPT to feed it with the seed prompt. And the way I've fed it is I say that, hey, you are an AI recruiter, right? This is my scorecard. And this is the 5 screening questions that the candidate has filled in their application, right? Using this 5 screening questions, using this resume, rate them on that skill and tell me whether I should be interviewing with them or not. So I don't even have to read, right? Like if somebody's like texting me on LinkedIn, I literally go on ChatGPT, I put their PDF, I don't even read it. The GPT tells me like, okay, outcome 1A, outcome 2A, outcome 3A, recommended for interview, yes. So then I send them the Calendly link, right? It's literally like that. And if you guys are hanging around, I will just show you like this, AI recruiters or this, CV screeners we have made in our phone. Uh, but this is the stage one, right? So this is for me manually checking whether they're a fit or not. The second step is I cannot be doing this. Like imagine the stress I'll have to do. Like if I go to my workable ATS system or Greenhouse, whatever you use, click on download, take that, put it on ChatGPT. It's going to take me forever, right? So we automated the whole thing using this. So today, if somebody applies on Richpanel, it goes into an ATS no matter where you came from. It then gets pushed into Clay. Again, how many of you guys are using Clay? Okay, not much. So basically, everyone's using an ATS, I'm guessing, some kind of an ATS. So you could use something like a Zapier to push that to Clay. Clay is nothing but like an Excel sheet, but the only difference is that you can enrich the data, just like you do formulas and Excel sheets. You can enrich the data with an AI prompt. So in Excel, I can have like column C is nothing but A plus B. In Clay, I can say column C is take the data from column A, send it to OpenAI APIs, and then take the data back and put it here. So what I'm doing in column C is making that screening prompt, take the data from column A, B, C, D, whatever the screening questions were, send it to ChatGPT, take it back and put that whether they are recommended for an interview, yes, no, right? If it's a yes, automatically it triggers a Calendly notification to my invitation. So to share some stats, my CTO used to complain that he's doing like 10 interviews and at the end, he's probably end up selecting one. So he's frustrated. He's having to do like 8 or 9 wasted interviews, right? This is like the most expensive resource I have in the company. Today, he says that he's doing 5 interviews and 4 of them are making it to the final round. And he's excited about doing these interviews, right? That's his testimonial after we automated this whole flow. I have become so courageous that the first Calendly link goes to my calendar. I'm like extremely cautious about giving my time, but I have like so much guts now that I'm actually sending them my calendar. This is the confidence I have in this screening technique. Before I used to be like, all of you guys do the interviews, you do it before I even talk to the candidate. But now I'm so confident on this methodology that I'm going on the first call. And I'm excited about going on the first calls because it's helping me figure out and spot those A players really, really early on. And so these are the download resources. I can share it. Yeah, I'm just seeing if there is a QR code. I don't know whether I have added it. But yeah, happy to share it. We are there on the booth. I will, make a QR code scannable so you guys can come and take the prompt back with us. And I've also given video tutorials on how to create custom GPTs and things like that. I'm sorry the session was a little rushed because we, started 10 minutes late. But I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have time for questions, or
we could probably do a couple questions real quick, but I know that the next people are.
Please go ahead.
All right. On. So I'm sure, as you know, the models that are coming out are very rapidly evolving. Have you guys messed with any of the reasoning models, whether that's DeepSeek or O3, within your guys' process? And have you seen big advances from that in the capabilities?
So to answer your question, yes, we have experimented with them. And no, not for this purpose, because they are mainly for research topics or something that requires you to dwell or think on it. Here, because the prompt is so specific, read these 5 screening questions and tell me whether they should get a score A or score B or score, because you give it such specific prompt that it gets it right 99.99% of the time. It gets it right better than humans, because humans will skim through. Imagine if I make you read 43 JDs. After the 43rd, you're I'm just going to skim through it. You're going to make a mistake. But GPT is putting that same effort that I put on the first versus the 42nd, 100,000, right? So that's how you have to think about it. You're actually utilizing AI's capability to read quickly and faster than human beings can. But yeah, we don't use reasoning models. It's the current GPT 4.0 and Sonnet 3.5 will be more than sufficient for this use case.
round of applause for
Thank
Amit.
you.